The share price of the company I'm looking at today dropped by 11% when the CEO unexpectedly stood down. But then a more experienced interim CEO took his place, and 3 of the board members bought more shares in the company, including the new CEO. Then they announced they were attending a major biopharma conference with a hope to partnering on their second asset. By the way, they have stated previously, and they still state now, that a partnering deal will be done on this asset before the end of this year, and it will be a big deal. Let's take a look. That company is Destiny Pharma, of course. DEST is the ticker. Now, that's based on 2 analysts. I have 3 analyst ratings here, and it varies a bit, but this is what they're saying. They're saying a maximum of 859% up, an average of 565% up. This is the target price, by the way. And the minimum is 78%. I don't know where that's from, because I've got 3 broker targets, 3 separate broker targets, and I'll show you some of the detail in this later. Some people say this is just thrown out there. No, it's not. 3 separate, very detailed broker targets looking at the market competitors out there at the moment compared to their products and market penetration and pricing models, all that. Okay, but 3 separate broker targets have these price targets: equity development 279, FinCap 285. Shore capital 290. So if you average that to 285. Now, I don't know another company with this amount of upside out there within very detailed broker notes. Okay, if you do know what one, let me know, because I'd like to know what it is, because I'd like to research it. But I don't know anything like this. And like I said, they are not over the top targets. These are based on average pricing models for the next or their first asset. This is not including the second asset. So current, SP is 29 pence, 850% upside, okay? And these targets could more than double with their second asset they're looking to partner on right now, okay? So if you know of a company with bigger broker targets, 3 separate broker targets, 850% up, and that's just on one asset, which has done a deal on, going into phase 3. They've got another asset going to phase 3 as well. They're looking to do another deal on. Let me know, okay? Because I'd be very interested to hear about it. Okay, so the CEO stepped down. This is Neil Clark, okay? I mean, down 11% here. So what do they do? Destiny Pharma is a clinical phase biotechnology company dedicated to infection prevention. Remember that. Infection prevention. Very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, it's worth remembering that, right? Okay. The company has 2 late-stage clinical programs and an earlier preclinical pipeline. The strategy is to build strong clinical data packages and then seek partners for the final clinical studies and commercialization. Phase 3, of course, is very expensive. I know they've partnered up with one. So this is their pipeline. This is NTCDM3. They've partnered up with Cibola Pharmaceuticals. This deal could be worth, in commercialization terms, 570 million to them. Pounds. Was that dollars? But it's a big amount. They had 1 million up front. Now this one here, okay, it has double the potential market size of this one. And they're doing a deal on this one next. And they will send, quite confidently, it'll be a big upfront cash payment. They've already got £10 million in the bank, which will last them to H2 2024. And also royalty payments going forward, milestone payments and royalty payments. But this will double that. And that target price you saw earlier on, that's based just on this asset, the deal they've done already. Okay, they've also got these obviously preclinical pipeline as well. So altogether, it's a big package. But I'm just focusing on the 2 late stage assets. They've gone through phase 2. They're now going to phase 3. Cibola Pharmaceuticals will pay for all the financial, no financial burden on Destiny Pharma for phase 3 trials. Okay, for that. So that's what they're looking for on F73. So this was the news. Board changes. Dr. Debra Barker appointed interim CEO. Have you noticed they said CEO stepping down? Don't say that. They say this is Dr. Debra Barker. So Neil Clark has decided to step down as CEO to pursue other new challenges. We've all heard that one before. Neil will also step down from the board with immediate effect. Really? That's Neil. So they said Neil's contribution to the company over the last 6 years has been significant, having recently led the exclusive collaboration and co-development agreement for NTCDM3 with Cibola Pharmaceuticals, raised finance, achieved the publication of landmark XF73 phase 2 data. He leaves the business well positioned with a strong balance sheet and a diversified late-stage pipeline. This is Dr. Debs there, currently NED, will become interim CEO until a permanent replacement has been appointed. Now, Dr. Barker has a wealth of experience as a senior executive and board director in the life science companies, including the anti-infectives sector. So this is infection prevention, these two drugs are about, okay? So she has experience in this area. Having held roles at Novartis, huge company, and Polyphor, in addition to roles at Roche, huge company, GSK, and Polyneuron. Just an example, Novartis and Roche, they have around about a market cap of close to, 300 billion, between 200 and 300 billion dollars, okay? GSK is around about 60 odd billion, 55, 60. So she has a lot of experience, high level here. Debra joined Destiny in 2020. Her experience in working in various roles at Big Pharma will play an integral part in delivering the next phase of Destiny Pharma's strategy as we look to maximising the value of our strong product pipeline. Okay, and Debra says there are significant opportunities that lie ahead for the company. And she would know, she's been in this area for a long time. My primary focus will be on advancing partnership discussions for XF73. Now notice that. Advancing partnership discussions. They're already in discussions on XF73. When Neil was here, he said they're very confident of getting a deal on XF73 before the end of the year. It's a question of getting the best bidder, the best partner out there, the best for shareholders, best for the drugs as well, and the assets they've got. So she said advancing partnership discussions. And I remember Neil saying that he did want quite a few different companies bidding against each other, because such is the potential of this drug, and that way they get the best deal. But again, worked at Novartis, Roche, GSK. Like I said, they are $200 to $300 billion companies. That's about a $50 to $60 billion company. At Novartis, Dr. Barker held several senior roles, including head of development for anti-infectives. That's at Novartis. That's a massive company. She was head of infectives. And now she's joining a 30 million market cap company, putting her weight behind getting a deal for XF73. Dr. Barker also medical lead for Swiss-based anti-infective, again, specialist. This is a company that's anti-infective specialist. Now, you can imagine she's built up quite a lot of contacts of people in that sector, in that industry. She knows them very well. She knows who to pitch to, who to talk to. So she's been in that area for a long time. So Swiss-based anti-infective specialist, Polyphor's highly successful IPO on the SIX Swiss exchange. Okay. Now, if you look at Neil, for example, Neil's a lovely guy, chatted him lots of times, and he did a lot for the company. But he wasn't as qualified in this area as Dr. Debra Barker. He was qualified as an accountant with PwC. On the audit, corporate finance. Before Destiny Pharma, he was CFO. He became CEO as well at Ergomed. And again, before that, seen as CFO there. So Neil was a clever figures guy, good numbers guy, but didn't have the experience, nowhere near the experience in anti-infectives or the infective sort of areas like Dr. Debra Barker. So to me, this is not a downgrade. This is very much an upgrade in a very pertinent, relevant sector, So if Neil leaving was bad for the business, why did this happen, right? Director buys. So 47 grams worth of buys the next day after he left. Nick Rogers, the chairman, bought 3 times. And now he's got he bought 25 grand's worth, and now he's got 70 grand's worth. So you can't say they wouldn't do that if it's going in the wrong direction, And even the CEO bought a couple of grand's worth. And in fact, they sort of know each other. Alec Williams, worth looking into his CV as well. Very impressive. Also in infectives and working at big companies. He bought 15.5 grand. She bought 6.6. And then they went to say Destiny Pharma will be attending Bio 2023 next week in Boston. I don't know why I said it like that. But please get in touch. Let's arrange a meeting. Find out more about the progress that's been made with its lead assets in the anti-infective space and the potential partnering. Now, you have to understand, to be qualified in that area, which is where Destiny Pharma is specialising in, is very special. It's very powerful to have that kind of connection with someone like Dr. Debra Barker at such a high level in anti-infectives. She's worked at very high, doesn't get higher than Novartis, So, very interesting move, I think this was, and the share buying. But the market, or some people sort of sold, worrying. I think this is an upgrade. I really do. There's no question this is an upgrade for me. Absolutely an upgrade. But anyway, they announced they're going to here. The Department for Science is there from the UK. The UK is investing heavily in its technology therapies tomorrow. That's George Freeman MP. He was in Boston. He says UK financing for biotech has gone up by 1,000% in 10 years. GSK there, it's a big conference. Very big conference. And if you want to find a partner, then it's the kind of place you go. And in fact, on their website, they've got partner there. You can partner with people there. And 2023 partnering companies, you view partnering companies, and Destiny Pharma's there. So who knows? There may be news coming out from this conference in a few weeks' time, because they meet up with people there and there are further meetings. So the news is not come straight off the back of this, but it could be very close. Could be a week or month's time. Who knows? But that's what I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. And by the way, just to look into XF73, the potential here, external European market research reports show that XF73 nasal gel is seen as a very promising alternative to the current incumbent here, which is mupirocin, the current standard for treatment, by both clinicians and payers. The study suggests XF73 has the potential to replace the current standard of treatment as the preferred pre-surgical nasal decolonization agent. And they do say their active partnering program initiated and early discussions with potential partners commenced. Now, management see estimates for net present value for NTC, this is their first asset, of 200 million. XF73 is wholly owned by Destiny Pharma and addresses a larger market. So double whammy there. The other one is not completely wholly owned. They bought it, so they have to pay a royalty. But this is wholly owned, a larger market. So its value to the company is expected to exceed that of NTC M3 once partnered. But even if you double that NPV to 400 million, you're doubling pretty much the target price of the brokers, which is like, it's already 800%, 850%. So you're doubling that. The fundraising has given the platform to a next stage, because they did do a fundraise off the back of the last deal, which scuppered the momentum in the share price, to be honest. But they had to raise money, and this opportunity delivers significant value for shareholders. So this is what happened. It rose 100% from December to January, from 30 pence to 60 pence, on the anticipation of an NTCDM3 deal. That happened. They did a fundraise, and it got, I don't know what happened there, so maybe someone leaked it or something. The fundraise, then, now we're down here again, down 49%. So this, now, understand that was the anticipation of a deal, okay? A deal was done, money raised. So that's done. And they've got a more solid balance sheet. And now they're looking for a deal on the bigger asset. Bigger cash up front, and it's wholly owned by them. So look at this. We're going back to now 2020, right? July 2020, it went from 40 pence up to £2, up 600%. 2 late-stage assets, no deals. And now we have 2 late-stage assets, 1 deal, 1 to come, plus they have cash, and we're down at 30 pence. It was £2 a few years back, and they were well less advanced than they are now. Doesn't make no sense, but that's a bear market. And that's when the bear market, offers up opportunity. Okay? Like I said, 3 separate brokers have share price targets, 279, 285, 290, 285, and this could double. Or it's kind of share price is 30 pence. 850% upside. And it could double with XF73 deal. So if you want to look at how they come about these figures, this is on XF73. They go about looking at high-risk surgeries, 1% growth, percentage of which Staphylococcus aureus, so that's the disease there, the carrier of that 35%, penetration of 4%, okay, patients treated. They do all this, and they look at the pricing, probability, revenue, and it doesn't start revenue till 2027, but that's the only way you can get in so early, so cheap on a deal, is because it's quite early still in the commercialization. They've got two late-stage assets, but the commercialization doesn't start happening until 2027. Okay. Now you may think that's a long time off, but the share price will rise way before that happens, before they get there. Okay, a lot higher than it is now, because they've still got two phase 3s to get through. Okay, so it'll start rising way before that. And then you get another page. And so you can see there's a lot of work goes into that. And it's basically talking about, like I said, market penetration, number of procedures, all that, so patients treated, probability. There's a lot goes into those broker forecasts. But essentially, it's about looking at the standard care of, of duty right now, the care, the drugs they use right now, looking at the penetration, market penetration, the pricing of that, and all that, and replicating that and seeing, where it can get to. But so it's quite a complex model. And those are the targets. But like I said, if you know of a bigger target by 3 separate brokers on any company, please let me hear about it, because I would like to know and do research on it. Please do your own research. As you can see, I'm quite biased about this company because I hold some stock. But I do think there's massive upside if things go to plan. Okay, hope that helps.